Good morning, student. I, Vinita Mathur, Faculty of Electronics and Communication Department in Arya College of Engineering and IT. I am giving my lecture on Microcontroller, which is being conducted in 4th semester EC branch. 8051 Microcontroller. Features of 8051 microcontrollers are as follow. It is designed by Intel. It consists of internal RAM and ROM memory. It has input-output ports with programmable pin. It consists of 16-bit timer and counter. It also consists of serial data communication. Here comes the internal architecture of 8051. The figure shows the usual CPU components. It consists of program counter, ALU, arithmetic and logic unit, working register, or we can say that register banks, clock circuit. It has 8-bit CPU with register, accumulator and register B. It has 16-bit program counter and data pointer, 8-bit stack pointer and internal ROM with EPROM feature. Okay. It consists of internal RAM of 128 byte in which there are 4 register bank. Each register consists 8 bit of register. There are 16 byte which may be addressed at a bit level. There are 8 byte general purpose data memory and 32 bit input output pin arranged as 4 ports with each of 8 bit. There are 2 16-bit timer and counter. Serial data communication is done through the full duplex mode for receiver as well as transmitter, which is syntaxed as S buffer. There are control register for controlling the timer serial mode, which are syntaxed as TCON, which define timer control, SCON defines serial control, T mode define timer modes, and IP define instruction pointer and IE define interrupt enable. To provide the input clock, there is an oscillatory clock circuit in the 8051 architecture. Now, here we can see that the internal architecture of 8051 microcontroller. The first block shows the accumulator and B register. Accumulator holds the result of the instruction, which is addressed by the chip of special purpose register bank. B register is used to store the operand for the multiplication and division instruction. It is basically used as the scratch pad. Next, PSW is defined as program status word. It defines whether any conditional flag is high or low. It also considers one of the special function registers. Next, stack pointer. This is used to store the data into the stack using push or pop instruction. Push instruction is used to call any instruction, and to remove any instruction we can also use as RET, return instruction. There is DPTR register. This is defined as data pointer register. It is 16-bit register containing higher byte and lower byte. Higher byte defined DPH of 8-bit and lower byte defined by the DPL of 8-bit, and combination forms a 16-bit, and this is used for the external data memory address. It also defines the location of data to be used. Now these are connected to the ports, or we can say the latch and drivers. There are total 4 ports used in the 8051. Latches and drivers are required. Latches are required to fetch the information, and driver is used to increase the, or we can say enhance the capacity of the instruction to be fetched. There are 4 latch and driver allotted to each pair of port. Now port 0, this pin served as a dual purpose work. It worked as an input output as well as a bidirectional bus for the lower order address and data bus. For external memory, it is divided into A0 to A7 and D0 to D7 as shown in figure. Port 1 pin, it has no dual function, therefore the output latch is connected directly to the system. It works as only input-output port whenever required. Port 2. It acts as a 8-bit bidirectional input-output port during the external memory access. In port 2 emits the higher order 8-bit of the address A8 to A15, which is activated only when ALE signals goes high. ALE defines address latch enable. Whereas port 3rd, it also consists of 8-bit bidirectional address input-output port, which has been allotted a address in special register form of 80851. It also performs the following function. It read and write the data. It provides serial communication. It provides counter and timer circuit, as well as interrupt information is also provided at this port. Now, to start the processor and providing the timing, we require the clock circuit. There are two pins are shown below, XTAL1 and XTAL2. This defines the clock circuit. It uses the crystal oscillator circuitry to provide the clock. 8051 can work on 1 to 16 megahertz of clock frequency, which is provided through the inbuilt oscillator. Now PSEN, Programmable Store Enable. This is an active low output signal that acts to read the external program memory and store the value in it. Now serial data buffer. Serial data buffer are the two independent registers. If this buffer is working in write mode, it means data is transmitting. If this buffer is working in read mode, it means data is receiving. Now we can see their pins. There is a EAVP pin. This pin is known as external access enable pin. This pin will provide the external program to access by the 8051. The external program from the other hardware can be accessed only and only if this pin is high. Reset show when we are feeding any program, then this logic should be at 1. 2 power supply plus 5 volt and ground is provided. Here the register banks are not to R3. There are 4 register banks used for the register mission. Special function register, IE instruction interrupt enable, IP instruction pointer, and these are the program control mode, serial buffer mode, serial control mode, timer control mode, timer modes, and higher and lower timer value. This is the internal architecture of 8051. As from the figure, I have explained each block as accumulator is used to hold the result, register B is used to store the result of operand of multiplication and division, program status word provide the information regarding the flags and special function register. Stack pointer, it is used to store the data using the stack push and pop instruction. DPTR, data pointer, which defines the location of data to be stored either in 8-bit or in 16-bit. Ports from P0 to P3, there are total 4 ports which are used in 8051, and the working of each port, as port 0 work as a dual function, port 1 work as only input output port, port 2 work as a dual function as input output, and for the higher order address bus which are valid only when the ALE signal is high, and port 3 functional as a bidirectional input output, as well as it provides the read write, serial input output, counter, timer, and interrupt mode functioning. Now for the clock, XTAL1 and XTAL2, these are known as crystal oscillator logic 1 and logic 2, which provides the internal clock to the 8051, the range of clock which lie from 1 to 16 megahertz. PSEN, program store enable, it is logic low when external program is read, and it's logic high when the data is being read and save in the program system. Serial buffer, this basically provide the information whether the information is transmitting or receiving. If information is transmitting, then it's working in write mode, and if it is receiving, then it's working in the read mode. Here the pin EA/VPP, it defines the external access. This pin accesses the external program memory. It should be active high to access the program from the external memory.